for Kendrick, the Uranus Jupiter conjunction, um and that happened, and the ruler of that Uranus conjunction, because it was in Taurus, so the ruler Venus was in Pisces. It was actually on my natal sun that day. I had both Venus and Neptune on my natal sun, and I literally fell in love that week. It was amazing. It was so freaking Neptunian. I was drowning. I was so watery. I was spent between my birthday all the way till the first eclipse. I spent every single day at the spa. I was in the pool, I was in the hot tub, I was in the jacuzzi, and I was in the sauna. Like, I couldn't even help it. I was so helpless, and I was meditating so much. I was transcending. Oh, it was so cool. I loved it. I was very lost though. I couldn't hang on to anything. I couldn't hang on to anything. And I was choosing. I fell in love. But anyways, so Kendrick natally has Jupiter trine Uranus. So I do expect it to play out, and it did play out. The first time, well, the last one we had in 2010. That's when Kendrick break out on the scene with his release mixtape, revolutionary, you name it, all the good words. Especially when you read the reviews, the critics. So this grand rebrand you're seeing playing out now. The songs that he released, like, what a body of work. You already knew that Kendrick Lamar, 14 Grammys, Pulitzer winner. But what a rebrand. He's been around. This is nothing new. We know who he is, the boogeyman. We know who he is. But what a rebrand to surpass the #1 hip-hop tracking song. The last one was of Drake. Basically to steal everything out of Drake's hands. The grand rebrand of it all. He did that in 9 days, reaching 500,000 units sold. Or is that something? Is that a metric? Doing that in 9 days when Drake did that in 14 days with God's Plan. If this song does not win a Grammy Award, like for the master play, how we masterfully also giving out, lifting the copyrights for content creators. The grand rebrand of Kendrick Lamar to drop a banger, a diss track banger. We can't stop listening to this song. We cannot. We can't stop listening to it. As Wiz with Drake, and this is actually what's fascinating to me, because I don't have a time chart for Kendrick, so I don't have rising, but we do have a time chart for Drake. And with Drake, all of this was playing on his MC. Mind you, Uranus wasn't going to be on his exact degree until after the fact, which was May 13th, that Uranus was going to be at 23 degrees 17 seconds on his MC. So I was expecting something else, but it's just like a little bunch of allegations and all the content creators just trying to skim off the last bit of interest on this pop culture phenomenon. But the whole shakeup was on his career. It was on his MC. It was in his 10th house, right? Jupiter is the ruler of his 5th house of children, and 8th house of secrets. And the topic of children was definitely brought up. It was Jupiter was the children were definitely brought up in this equation. You couldn't miss it. But that was I was expecting, because it was Jupiter, and I'm not saying that Jupiter cannot be, sometimes too much of a good thing, or sometimes Jupiter, because Jupiter blows things up. Sometimes Jupiter can be not a malefic, but it can exasperate a situation. But here I do believe that it was the topic of children that was mentioned over and over. His previous children and the current one that he is hiding, or if there is a child that is hidden as an 11-year-old daughter. Uranus, the shakeup in his career. I know when I had the transit Uranus going over my natal sun, the shakeup is so unexpected. It's like you hear 1 minute I was in Australia, I was working on my master's degree. I thought I was gonna stay in Australia, and next minute I found myself. Not only did I find myself in hospital having an ectopic pregnancy, losing the baby, but also within 2 weeks I found myself back in Toronto, locked out of Australia. All my dreams of having a master's degree, of staying in Australia, like it was snatched out of my hand, out the blue. And that's Uranus for you. I was having both. It was that conjunction of 2010. It was playing out on my natal sun, but I also had a Saturn return. I had a Saturn return in my first house, because Saturn is natal in my first house. I was having a return, so it was opposing my sun. The Australian embassy, the administration just, and then I had that conjunction, and I think it was just a big shakeup. It was just a big 1 minute here you're here, next minute you're not. And I think it's, and 1 minute Drake was at the top, and next minute Kendrick, he's not even in the top 5 on Billboard 100. He's not even in the top 5 songs. And Kendrick,